Hi, this is Lee from the Bar Exam Toolbox and the Law School Toolbox. Welcome back. 'Tis the season for bar results. So in today's podcast, we're sharing common questions we receive from bar takers seeking advice about studying again. Okay, I know you get this question a lot because I also get this question a lot. I get a free repeat of my commercial bar review program. Shouldn't I just do that same program again because it's free?
Well, I'm going to ask them, did that work for you the first time? I always go to the Einstein quote, I think it is. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. So I think they'll really have to reflect honestly and seriously on their last experience. So it is totally possible that you purchase a course and you did not commit yourself to that course for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Maybe if you were more committed, it might work. I don't know that most people are really in that position. What are your thoughts?
I think most people I talk to at least did 75%
I would say.
or
Yeah.
more of their commercial bar prep. Every now and then I'll hear someone who say they only did 50% or that something happened, especially if they're a working and studying applicant. But generally speaking, most people have worked their commercial bar program to, a certain extent. So then the question becomes, did that program prepare you for the test? And if you're speaking to me, likely the answer is no.
Right.
Unfortunately. So if you put in sufficient effort, which meant you were studying regularly, you were taking care of yourself, you weren't doing self-sabotaging behavior, then the question is, okay, then I put in all this time. Why wasn't I able to apply what I was learning to the exam in the room? And there could be a lot of factors that go into that. One that almost comes up in every single conversation about this is, talk to me about your learning. Did you do passive learning or active learning? Did you put in tons and tons of hours, but did you ever test your retention? More and more, I keep thinking about the last Adam Grant book that we've talked about on the podcast before, where he talks about studying foreign languages and this idea that if you have to be speaking something, you have to be challenging yourself, you have to be failing to really be able to learn. And I always think of that when somebody talks to me about how many hours they put in listening to video lectures, and they're surprised that that didn't lead to being able to spit out the language on the page and do the legal analysis, because it's just not the same things.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's always we have this conversation literally multiple times a day of like, I realize now I was too passive. I watched too many videos. I didn't really put the material together. At some point, it all became really overwhelming, and I had all this stuff in my head, and I just couldn't perform. I hadn't practiced, and I will be honest. I kind of think of myself like last ski season. I was training for this exam. I was getting all this input from different people. I was working hard. I was putting in the time, but I was getting worse and worse and worse in a lot of ways. And it got to the point a couple of weeks before the test when I said, you know what? I'm not going to pass this test. Like, I need to take a different approach. And so I realized that up front, it was a lot easier because it was $200 and I could get it refunded. But I think there's something about that process of, like, particularly the first time you do something, you don't know what's going to work. So you kind of, put your chips like, okay, well, these people know what they're doing. They're telling me to do these things. But at some point, if it's not working, it's not working. And so I think that's the analysis that people really have to consider is like, what about this did not work for me? And what can I do differently? Maybe you use the same materials, but, you focus intently on practice or something. Like, there are lots of ways that you can kind of work this. But I do not think just doing the exact same thing and redoing the course is going to probably result in a different result.
No, I actually challenged somebody I was speaking to on the phone this week to do an A/B test. And I said, if you're not sure if you retain information in this way, I would, re-engage with your commercial bar prep program because it's free. Why not? You've already paid for it. And then, listen to evidence lectures and, test yourself and see how you retain. And then spend time, instead of doing the audio lectures for the next subject, you could study off of outlines and make flowcharts and flashcards, and then see how much you retain using the same amount of time that you would have spent in those lectures, which when you add them up are a lot of hours, like a lot of hours. And then see how it comes out. What do you remember? And I think that there is a vulnerability in making yourself do some sort of exercise like that. But think about all the information that you can get from doing an exercise like that and just really looking at yourself and saying, like, how do I retain information in the most efficient way? I have my own personal opinions on that answer, but you should test it and figure it out for yourself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I spoke with someone today who had a legitimate reason for telling me that like watching videos was helpful for her. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, she was doing it in conjunction with other things. But yeah, there were
Yeah.
specific reasons with the way her brain works that it was helpful to see someone talking about the information. I'm like, cool, I get that. Is that everyone? Absolutely not. So I think you just
Right.
have to be thinking of what is the most efficient way to get material in my head. And the other thing is the overwhelm of just the amount of law. Even if someone's using the commercial course again, I really strongly urge them to get some shorter outlines and use that as their primary source of information because there's no way that you can memorize like a telephone book.
No, no. Absolutely not. Well, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, give us a like, and leave us a comment. And check back for future updates on preparing for the bar. Thanks for watching.